After 35 years, the future of Disney's Gay Days looks grim. The group that organizes the event announced that shifting hotel agreements and the loss of key sponsors forced it to cancel the celebration in 2026. Organizers still urge gay fans to visit the parks on the usual dates and wear themed attire, but the coordinated celebration appears headed for a quiet end. Whatever happens next, one point matters. Evangelical Christians tried to cancel Gay Days with an on-again, off-again boycott for decades. What finally wounded the LGBTQ Leviathan wasn't conservative activism, it was cultural apathy. I remember the first wave of evangelical pushback as Disney began signaling support for homosexual lifestyles in the 1990s. Conservatives already watched pop culture coarsen through music, movies, and video games, yet they still treated Disney as a family-friendly institution aimed at children. That's why it shocked them to see the company behind Snow White and Cinderella host celebrations of homosexuality and extend benefits to same-sex partners long before the Supreme Court imposed gay marriage on the country. Evangelical denominations answered with a strangely inconsistent boycott. One year, the Southern Baptist Convention urged members to avoid Disney. The next year, churches were showing up to the Night of Joy, Disney's Christian music festival. When Gay Days began in 1991, gay marriage remained deeply unpopular. The TV show Will and Grace hadn't worked its magic on the popular imagination, and politicians such as Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton still felt compelled to posture as defenders of traditional marriage as late as 2008. If any moment favored a decisive cultural rebuke, that was it. Instead, Christians offered sloppy, intermittent resistance, while Disney only leaned in harder. Disney's support for homosexuality moved from park celebrations and employee benefits into its entertainment. Progressive messaging crept into television shows and movies until the woke revolution turned into a flood. The Little Mermaid became black, gay couples were kissing in Star Wars, and diverse girl bosses dominated Marvel. As acceptance of gay marriage shifted from taboo to required corporate orthodoxy, Disney replaced entertainment with propaganda. The company then collided with Governor Ron DeSantis after Florida moved to restrict the mutilation of children and limit the amount of LGBTQ messaging pumped into public schools. Legislation that the press laughably branded the Don't Say Gay bill sent leftists into a panic. Executives called emergency meetings, and rumors flew that Disney would pull up stakes and flee the Sunshine State. Blaze TV host Christopher Rufo helped surface video of a corporate meeting where Disney executive LaToya Revenaugh announced her, well, as she described it, not at all secret gay agenda to inject LGBTQ themes into kids' shows. Disney embraced the agenda early, worked to make it dominant, and especially among children. The whole time, they refused to slow down once the woke revolution reached full speed. So why did Gay Days suddenly fall apart now? Well, apathy. Apathy doesn't mean that Americans suddenly disapproved of Disney's agenda, sadly. It just means that normal people stopped granting it the honor of a fight. Many families quit watching new releases, not as part of a coordinated boycott, but because the product became preachy, weird, and dull. Others kept their subscriptions but tuned out of the messaging and rolled their eyes. Either way, the ritualized drama lost its electricity. Corporate sponsors follow attention, and attention follows the next outrage. A movement built on being shocking can't survive once it becomes background noise. When every kid's show feels like a lecture, even sympathetic viewers start craving something else. Gay Days didn't collapse because Christians perfected some kind of strategy. It collapsed because the culture stopped caring enough to show up or even cheer. Apathy isn't victory, but it can starve out a movement faster than a protest. Popular political movements need cultural momentum, and progressive movements feed on transgression. Leftists want to feel like they're fighting the stuffy pastor in Footloose. Take that, John Lithgow. They want to feel cool, rebellious, and righteous. Without that dialectic tension, progressivism just kind of loses velocity. When activists fought the religious right, they enjoyed the perfect enemy. Just enough moralizing to spark rebellion, but little chance of sustained effective opposition. Conservatives could work up an outrage on television and even skip a holiday trip, but they were rarely going to sustain a boycott. Republicans generally worship business and profits, so GOP politicians avoided pressure on true pain points like corporate sponsors and boardrooms. Conservatives served as a political battery, supplying just enough resistance to keep the LGBTQ activists energized while imposing few costs. Democrat operatives could not have engineered a better environment. In The Prince, Machiavelli advises rulers to leave opponents alone or crush them entirely. A complacent enemy might grumble, but they avoid taking risks. A crushed enemy can't retaliate. The most dangerous enemy is one that has suffered a minor bloodying. He gains the motivation to fight and keeps the means to harm. Conservatives gave the LGBTQ movement exactly that minor bloodying. Outraged finger-wagging, but never any real consequences. No one lost a job for pushing gay agendas in the Disney parks, shows, or movies. Corporate sponsors rarely withdrew. Disney kept making money. Republicans played the role of cartoonish but harmless foe, delivering speeches about family values while imposing no penalties. The movement didn't lose because the right defeated it. It lost because it exhausted its own cultural energy. Even a strong boxer collapses after he punches himself out. Gay marriage won so quickly and so thoroughly that activists carried the momentum into harder causes such as the trans movement. Support, attention, and funding shifted to the new battlegrounds, and the older, more boring causes like gay days, they just slid into irrelevance. The lesson here is pretty simple. If the right fights, it must pick battles carefully and commit fully to winning them. Secure decisive victory in one arena instead of scattering resources across dozens of losers. Choose targets because they anchor your enemy's strengths, not because they offer an easy headline. If you fight, you must crush the enemy's capacity to operate. Otherwise, you invigorate his cause while draining your own. Clumsy half measures feed your foe, and you end up hoping he defeats himself. That's not a plan for a protracted culture war. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. If you'd like to get these broadcasts as podcasts, make sure to subscribe to the Auron MacIntyre Show on your favorite podcast platform, and when you do, leave a rating or a review. It really helps with the algorithm magic. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter or Gab or Instagram or Substack, if you'd like to get these videos on Rumble or Odyssey, the links to do all of that are down below in the description. Don't forget that you can pick up my book, The Total State, on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, or Books A Million, and don't forget that there is merch in the Blaze Media merch store for this show. So if you want to support us and you want to let everybody know how much you enjoy it, you can go pick something up there. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.